What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over how to install the Car Trim Home T10. This is the latest model as of right now. This is for the Gen3 Tacoma 2016 and up. It's a pretty straightforward install, but we'll cover pretty much everything you'll need to get it installed into your vehicle. Here we're just doing a quick unboxing, and we're going to show you everything that does come included with the truck. Everything is plug and play, no splicing, no cutting. The only thing is, with the head unit, you do get a new centerpiece with the AC vents and console, so you will have to take some old pieces or current pieces off of your current trim in your truck and put them on the new piece. It's nothing too crazy, but it has to be done in order to get the install completed. So pretty much right here, you'll just see what the new trim piece is going to look like with the T10 installed into it. Right here, you'll see the back of it. Everything you'll need is already included. So let's get to it. So right here, you're going to basically just take your trim tools that are included with the kit and just kind of work your way around. Once you feel it come loose, just pull it straight forward and out and take it with you. So next, the main piece you're going to be taking off is the gray gunmetal trim around the edge, and you'll also be taking the AC vents out. To get the gray trim out, you're going to have 12 Phillips screws, and you basically just take those out. I went ahead and forwarded through this because it's just time consuming and I wanted to shorten the video. So once you get all 12 out, you'll also have 3 retaining clips around the edges, 2 on the bottom. You'll see here, and you basically just use your trim tool and press them out to release the trim piece. Once you get all 3, you just kind of work with it, and it should come free. Just remember, don't pry too hard, and because it is plastic and you can break it. So once you get those 3 pieces out, you can flip it around and the piece should come out. You'll see here I've got it loose. I'm just being gentle with it, just trying to make sure I don't break anything. Once it's free, you'll just set it to the side, and we'll reinstall it into the new piece here in a little bit. All right, so next up, you're going to need to take out the AC vents. That's pretty simple. There's 3 retaining clips, kind of in a triangular pattern. You'll see them. They're just like the ones that were on the outer trim piece. Just pry forward. While you're prying one out, kind of pull up a little bit so it doesn't keep relatching, and then just work the other 2 out. Once you get the 3 free, it just pops right up. There's going to be 2 pieces. You just basically grab the other piece, slide it back in, and put it aside until we're ready to reinstall it on the new piece. You'll do the same thing for the other side. So you'll get those out of the way. Last thing we'll be doing is taking out these orange retainer clips. There's 10 of them. These are a little tedious to get out. If you're trying to get them out, they will fly off into the air. So try to do it in a space where it can't get thrown behind something and you lose it. They're held on both sides, so you'll have to pry one side up, kind of hold it, get the other side, and then just pull up. Once you get all 10 of those out, that's pretty much everything you'll need off of this old piece, and we'll just set this to the side. So next we're going to go ahead and start putting the current pieces into the new T10 head unit trim piece. So we're basically going to go in reverse. We'll start with reinstalling the AC vents. Going back in is a little easier. everything's going to just snap back in as far as the AC vents go. So just grab one. Just remember that inner piece will slide out, so you'll kind of have to hold it. Once you get it lined up, just press down until you hear them all three click in. You're good to go on that. And you may need a little assistance there with your trim piece just to get it completely set in. Same thing on the other side. It's pretty straightforward. Just line them up, push down, make sure they all clip in, and you're good to go. So next here, we'll start putting the orange clips back in. Those are pretty easy to put back in. You just slide them down, make sure you hear them click so that they are locked in and you won't lose them. All right, so the last piece is going to be the first piece we took off, and that's going to be the outer trim piece. Basically, you just flip it around, kind of line it up the best you can. I will note the plastic covering over the screen here will go underneath, so just to make it easy later on when you're trying to take it off, I would peel it off just a hair just to get it outside of the trim piece. If you notice here, there was a piece that was actually in between the screen and the new trim piece. Just be gentle, pull it slowly, it will come out, it will come free, and once you get it loose, you'll just slide it forward like we did on the top. Just get it out of the way a little bit and then line your piece up. I found it easier to just kind of set it there, flip it around, and you'll be able to see the clips where they line up. Just get them in there, get it snapped in. Once they're all set in and everything's lined up correctly, we'll go ahead and put our 12 Phillips screws back in. You'll see here where I had to kind of use the pry tool just to make sure it snapped in correctly, and you want it to fit nice and factory style. So once you get your 12 Phillips screws back in, that's it for the trim pieces. Everything should be completely back together. So now we're going to work on the harnesses. You'll see here, this is the main power harness. That's going to go into the black slot. That's going to have pretty much all the harnesses that get tied into the back of or into the truck. You'll see this clip here. It's the only other male on the harness. You're going to plug your canvas into this. You'll just plug that in, make sure it snaps good, set it aside. And then this is going to be your reverse camera harness. So you'll see here, I'll put a picture up. There's going to be two plugs there, both female, and they're both going to be labeled back video in. So basically what you're going to have to do is just take your best shot and plug it into one of them. And when you get your T10 put into the truck, you'll have to give it a try, put it in reverse, see if your camera works. If it doesn't work, you chose the wrong one, and all you have to do is just unplug it and plug it into the other option. If that does work, or it should work, or if you get lucky and you put it on the first one, on the first try, then you're good to go. Next here, you have your USB auxiliaries. So these are just extra USBs. You have the option of doing a single or a dual. I chose the dual just because it's better to have two. I'm not going to be using them for anything at the moment. Right here, this is going to be your harness for pretty much any other auxiliaries. You're going to have anything for like a external subwoofer, amplifier, front camera, stuff like that. You'll also have the audio input headphone jack for your external microphone for the phone usage. This plug here is going to be for the factory USB. You'll notice that I paused it just so you can get a good look at it, and that's going to be able to retain the factory USB there underneath the dash under your AC controls. Next here we have the GPS antenna. This is kind of a little pain in the butt to get screwed in, so just be patient with it. It's kind of a tight spot to get your fingers in there, but once you get it started, excuse me, you'll just get it going a couple of threads, and then you can grab an 8mm socket, or I'm sorry, a wrench, open-ended wrench, and just finish tightening it down until you feel that it's nice and snug. So once you get it tightened down, don't try to over tighten it. You're tightening it into plastic, so just be careful with that. Keep that in mind. Just kind of set it the way you feel you're comfortable with it. This is going to be your 4G cellular antenna. This is going to be the same process. Just kind of be patient, screw it in. Once you get it kind of going, a couple threads, you can finish it off there with your 8mm wrench. Just make sure it's nice and tight. Last thing, this is the external microphone that I mentioned earlier. I did plug it in here for just for video purposes, and basically plugs in just like that, and then you can run it into your cab. The T10 does have a built-in microphone, so keep that in mind. I chose not to use the external microphone because after trying it out with the built-in microphone, I felt that it worked pretty well. This one here is going to be your AM/FM antenna. So just get yourself some slack, take off the twist tie, work it around the harness to where you can find good room, and then just plug it in. And this should complete everything that gets plugged into the back of the unit. So here we're going to be taking out the factory unit. We'll be using a 10mm socket to remove the 4 bolts. Once they're out, just go ahead and pull the head unit out and start unplugging the harnesses. There will be a couple of harnesses that you do not unplug. I mean, you can, but it's not necessary. They just jumper back into the back of the unit. I'll show you here in a second what that looks like. Everything is just, you squeeze it where you see the release and you pull it out. Everything was fairly easy to get pulled out from the back. You'll notice this next plug here that I'm about to pull out is going to be for the Sirius XM. That is not going to be reused. You will lose Sirius XM. You can get it back if you choose. You just have to buy a harness, I believe. There's a couple other videos on YouTube that do have the harness and all the stuff you'll need to get that connected. Aside of that, everything else will get plugged back into the new T10 head unit. You'll notice here that's what the plugs look like that you do not need to unplug. They can stay in the old car head unit. And now we'll just start going and back in with the new unit. So it's pretty straightforward. All the harnesses, just by looking at them, you can kind of tell which ones go mate with the right ends, you know. There's nothing that will go into the wrong spot. They're all different sizes, so they all have a home. Basically, you just have to find them. Just make sure when you do plug them in that you do hear them click so that they are locked in and you won't have a bad connection. It's kind of a pain doing it by myself, trying to balance the unit and get everything plugged in. If you have a friend to hold it for you, works out even better. This plug here that I'm fixing to plug in, that's the factory USB. That's kind of a long plug, so just make sure you push it all the way in until it clicks. It's a little harder once you get further into the plug, but it does click. You will have a couple of harnesses coming off the back of the head unit that do not get used, but just make sure you plug in everything that's coming out of the dash, minus the Sirius XM plug, that little round black one. That will stay unplugged. All right, so we got everything plugged in. Next thing we're going to do here is we're going to just install the GPS antenna. There is a two-way tape on the back, so just peel off the backing. There is some kind of sponging lining the interior where the head unit goes, but it is pretty well attached to the inside, so just find a good solid spot for it and you'll press it up in there. And next here we'll have the 4G antenna, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and just peel the backing off, and we'll find a spot for it up on the top and just make sure it makes a good good connection. You don't want it to come free. All right, once you have that done, you'll notice here I still have the microphone plugged in. I just wanted to see if it would work, but I ended up disconnecting it. You can take the plastic off. There is a secondary screen protector on there, so you don't have to worry about it getting scratched or anything. And now we'll go ahead and fire it up and see if it works. So this is what it'll look like when you initially start it. You'll notice in the middle there's a little image of a vehicle with the doors open, and that's because my doors are open. You can choose to turn that feature off. There's no way to get rid of it unless you just turn it off completely. So you can go in the settings and you can just remove it. Once you are comfortable with it, you can go ahead and just kind of do your best to tuck all the wiring in. There's a lot, but there's plenty of room in there in that cavity for all that wiring to fit. You'll slide it in there and just go ahead and press firmly all the way around until you see that it's nice and flush and completely back into the dash. So that's pretty much it for this install. And thanks for watching the video, guys. Bye.